Hi, hello, and namaste. Welcome to Asamanya Ordinary People in Ordinate Journey. I'm your host and host, Smita Iyengar. In every episode of Asamanya, we bring to you a remarkable story, a journey of people who seem ordinary, but the extraordinary lives within them. And today, to begin with, we have such an extraordinary person with us, sharing the remarkable journey, the story of life, the untold stories, the secrets, and all that has brought him here. So, who is this? Should I call him a writer, a poet, a software engineer, or a narrator, a social media influencer? Today, we have one such personality who has been growing extraordinarily from an ordinary life, and that is Akshay Vasu. Namaste, Akshay. Welcome to the show.
Hey Smita, hey Kadiri.
So, should I say Akshay is a writer, poet, software developer, narrator? What else?
A software engineer, poet, social media influencer, anything
Wow.
that fits.
Wow. So, it's like there's a long list. So, if we have to talk about everything, I don't know, we're going to probably need 10 more episodes for this. But we'll try to fit in, we'll try to squeeze in, we'll try to know you as much as possible today. So,
Sure.
Akshay, if I have to introduce you to my audience or our audience, I already said you're a writer, influencer, and poet, and whatnot, software developer. So, from this software development, yeah, I understand that is what you perhaps do for a living. But from the software development, how did you get into, like narration and because you're quite popular on Instagram for your stories in Kannada language. They're absolutely beautiful. And even today morning, I was seeing a story. I was like so inspired, and it's like it's really the thought-provoking stories that come out, and makes me think. I was actually jittery in the morning, and I don't know when I saw that, I was like, right. So why don't I think this way? It's like, how did this thing happen?
Uh, yeah, the software engineering, I always say that I do the software engineering for the my tummy or stomach, and I do the narration and poetry for my heart. So basically, my grandfather used to tell stories,
Mm-hmm,
and I also used to read a lot of stories. The
mm-hmm.
power of stories and the perspectives that it provides you in looking at
Yeah.
the things and that's happening in your own life. The
Mm,
real power with respect to anything comes from you being able to see your own problems and your own circumstances in third person's perspectives.
absolutely.
So we do the journaling, right? When you write down
Yeah.
whatever is happening in your head, you're putting it in a paper and it is allowing you to see it as a third person. That will enable you to take 10 steps further. And if at all I put something near the camera, it'll
Mm,
come flourish. So you'll not be able to look at it the way it's
exactly.
supposed to be
Yeah.
looked at.
Yeah.
But if you take a bit behind, it starts becoming clear, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I always felt that stories enabled me to have that perspective, to look at it from the third person's perspective, to have a eagle eye view on it. So it became more and more clear. And having a lot of perspectives helps you in dealing with the problems more persistently and absolutely well. That's what I felt always. So when my grandfather used to tell me stories, we used to able to connect it in a
Mm-hmm.
way our maturity prevailed at that point of time in our childhood. So after we grow, after I went to my primary school when I was in fifth standard, one of my dad's friend called Balu, he presented me with Bhagavad Geeta Yatharupa. It was written by Srila Prabhupada. It was from ISKCON. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was the first time that I read the whole thing. But to understand and the grasp the vastness of it, I didn't have that much capability.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the time. Then I started writing poetry.
Mm-hmm.
There is this. I always believe that there is certain thing called past life karmas. So
Yeah.
if at all, uh, in your whole family, everybody is a theist, and you're praying a lot. For example, I always give the example of Prahlada
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it comes
Yeah.
to
Sure.
yeah. So in the Rakshasas families, Prahlada was a different entity, right? So in a certain way, your circumstances doesn't have to affect you in that case. Many times, certain things comes from past life, right? So there's a beautiful example. Once a rishi
Mm-hmm.
had done a lot of tapas and
Mm-hmm.
had got rid of all the karmas.
Mm-hmm.
And when he succumbed and he passed away, the only karma that he had was he didn't have enough food in his life.
Okay. Yeah.
So in the next birth, he took birth as a dog. He ate as much as he wanted. He finished it and he got moksha. It had moksha. So something like that keeps happening. We don't understand. So
True.
after that, I started writing poetry, and my dad used to also write a lot of dramas, and he used to arrange the plays in his place. So
Yeah.
probably I got that hinge, and in eighth standard, my first two poetries got published in Vijay Times. That's a local newspaper, national
Wow.
newspaper. After that, I wrote a lot in Kannada, but once my mom, when I had been to in my PU,
Mm-hmm.
pre-university, when I had been to college, my mom didn't know about it and threw it all away. She, so I had stopped after that. Then engineering happened, or everything is colorful.
Yeah.
Then the real life hits you. When you come out of after finishing engineering, you start doing your job. The real life starts hitting you. And at that point of time, I was going through a certain depression, severe depression. And during that time, I used to read these African proverbs. I used to read these little stories. And I
Mm-hmm.
again took the Bhagavad Gita. At that point of time, understanding this was completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happens is all these books are extremely metaphorical. So the meaning of these books keep on changing based on the life you have lived and based on the life you have left behind. So eventually, I understood that I had this craving that whatever is helping me, I want to tell those stories to people also.
Yeah.
So I started writing poetry in English.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and Google Akshay Vasu, you'll get seven self-published book in Kindle. Each one of them have around 200 poems. So that is 1,400 poems written in English. So
Wow.
that was a journey while writing poem very metaphorically.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people from across the world started getting connected to it, and they started pinging with their depression stories, with their life stories, with their suicidal thoughts. So I thought, okay, people gets connected to this. I understood. Then why not in Kannada? Initially, I wanted to write in Kannada, but Kannada as being my mother language, I
Mm.
always say jawabdari jasti irutte. Means the responsibility is very high because
Absolutely.
as soon as you take birth, three identities get assigned to you. One is your mother, motherland, and mother language.
Yeah.
So I strongly felt that there is a huge responsibility to deliver anything in Kannada. So I
Mm-hmm.
took my time. In 2022, I started writing in Kannada. People received it very well, the poetry. But from past 3, 4 years, there was always this at the back of my mind that I should tell stories,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
reciprocated with me. But the thing was, you're always pessimistic. You're always your own self-critic. You're always your worst enemy, right?
Yeah.
So everybody is telling stories in social media. Why you should tell? Why people have to hear you? So
Yeah.
on one fine day, 2023, April 4th, I decided, okay, everybody tells stories, but you have not told it. That is your USP. That is your uniqueness. Go tell it.
Mm-hmm.
So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right, karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu
Yeah.
kadachana ma karma palaturburmaheto sangostva karmani. Do everything that you're supposed to do without any attachment to the fruit of it. Leave the fruit to God. So it might happen, should not influence your work. It might not happen. That fear should not influence your work. So I always strongly believed it in whatever I did throughout the life. After I attained certain maturity. So I started doing this also. At till 24, 25 posts, I was standing at 200 to 220 followers. But all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, a reel about second chance in life and reel about Krishna got
Yes.
viral.
Yes.
And after that, I've kept on telling stories. Now, right now, I might have told 400 odd stories. So that is the journey. That is what have brought me until now.
Wow.
And we have met before also. Probably at that point of
Yes.
time, I had just
Yes.
started.
Yes.
And at that point of time, you had contacted me and we had done an interview.
Yeah, I remember that, and that I must say, till date, okay, it's been like what 2 years since we did that, and till
Yes.
date, That is my most viewed, most commented, and most liked poster or the flyer.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that.
I'm so happy, that I could connect with you because, when you make a connection initially when the person is just starting to grow or whatever the stage a person is, and then that connection kind of stays for long is what I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, today morning I was so jittery, I was nervous, and for all the audience watching us, this will be the first episode and it, and I'm like so anxious, so nervous. Though I have done it like many times,
Yeah.
but I was still, like, okay, Asamanya, this is the first one, so oh, I have to bring out something and there and when I was just going through Akshay's profile again, like so that I don't miss out on something today, to ask or to bring out or whatever. When I was going through, I just saw this beautiful story, and it was about a person dropping the honey
Yeah.
jar, and
Yeah.
there are the flies which get stuck. Like, okay, I don't want to get stuck there. I'm not
That is
getting
what I
stuck in
was,
the thought. And
yeah, that is what I was telling earlier, right? Yes, everybody have an YouTube channel, everybody have told certain stories, everybody have done certain podcasts, but you have not done it. That is
yeah,
your uniqueness and your USP, right? So if at
exactly.
all you take the first step, if at all anybody start doing whatever they wish to do, probably many people get influenced and affected by it.
Yes, and I'm telling very openly and honestly, Akshay, through the last year, your stories have really inspired me, and there have been many weak points in my life, and when I saw your stories, read through them, listened to them, it just gave me a new hope and lot of positivity and a lot of boost to come out of situations and like think probably in the right way, and I have to say this from my personal experience.
I'm very glad to hear that. For any artist, everything is an art at the end of
Yeah,
the day. Even if
yeah,
you code, your coding, the indentations that you give, all the things that you do is an art in a way, especially when it comes to telling stories, writing poems, narrating stories, all those. So when people gets influenced by it positively, it affects them positively and resonate them with them positively. Uh, we as a people who tell stories or write poems cannot ask more than that. That is the
yeah.
most best compliment that we can hear from anyone.
Exactly. And you know what? The in the end of every story, you say Yochne Madi. That Yochne Madi is like it will really make you think.
Yeah.
It has a big impact. It will really make you think.
That thing that Yochna Madi came from a thought. See, you'll be
Mhm.
reading a book. At certain point of time, I always say it is not the whole book that changes your perspective of life. That is one particular line or a paragraph
Yeah,
that
true.
makes you turn around 180 degree, completely opposite. And you just close the book for a moment and you look at the wall and a sigh.
Yeah,
So that is what changes your whole perspective and your whole life. So to take that moment to grasp what you have heard or what you have read and have a thought about it so that it can stay with you.
hmm.
That is how I came up with Yoshnemari. So probably
That's
that have worked out well.
yes. That really hits hard. It's like hits on your face. Like think.
Just don't listen, apply it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there is
sure,
this
sure.
very,
Like
yeah,
I
so
said,
there's this, yeah, there's this very beautiful story.
Yeah.
Um, there was this small bird,
Hmm.
and a man catches that bird. When the bird was in cage, the bird says, "If you leave me, I'll give you three wisdoms,
Hmm.
three things that are very much wise, and that
Hmm.
will change your life." He says, "Yeah, please tell me." The first thing is, if uh, you hadn't caught me, I
Hmm.
had very two huge diamonds in me, and you lost it. You just lost it.
Hmm.
And the second thing is, if you let me out,
Hmm.
I'll tell you a very great secret, and you'll be what you'll start living very exuberantly after that.
Hmm.
It goes on like this, and after that, the person opens the door, the one who have caught it. They it flews out, and the second thing that it says was, Don't believe anything, just blindly.
Mhm.
Think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Whatever impacts you, whatever is accessible or understandable, only think about that. Only believe that. It comes out and ask him. And the third thing it says was don't lament about what has already happened.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out and says you believed that there is a two huge diamonds and there is a small bird like me. That doesn't suits anything that is logical. You believed
Yeah,
it. You've ruined the first thing. The second thing is you let me out and now you're crying that you let me out and you're lamenting.
yeah.
The third thing is don't don't seek knowledge without even applying what you've already learned.
Wow.
Yeah, the story comes out something like that. So, if at all you're just listening to certain things, that's what happens with the motivation in YouTube or Instagram, anywhere, right? You just
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
on scrolling one after the other reel that motivates you. You go there, you bookmark it, you save it, you go to the next reel. After you go to the third or fourth reel, you don't remember what you saw in the first reel. What is the point of
exactly.
it?
Yes,
So you
yes.
have to take time and you have to think about it, you have to grasp it, you have to apply it, then go to the next thing.
Yeah. And okay, when I was, like I said, I was scrolling through your page today. I have to say this actually. Congratulations, you're newly married. And
Thank you. Thank you,
yes,
Smita.
yes. So, how is married life treating you?
Oh, she's a very wonderful lady.
Mhm.
She understands me very well. So there is this phase where you understand each other, right?
Yeah.
In the when it is a love marriage, mine is an arranged marriage, and when it is a love marriage, you both know about each other very well. You know what hurts each other, what makes each other happy. But when it comes to an arranged marriage, there is a lot of exploration that needs to be done.
Hmm.
I always say that there is a love marriage, there are a lot of things to pretend. If at all you want the opposite person very
Yes,
badly, you become
yes,
some certain other person that matches their vibe, their expectation. So you want to get them. There is this attachment to them, right? So you'll do
yeah,
anything. But after you get married to them, a lot of times you become a different person altogether. The people change when they start eating on the same table and sleeping on the same bed. But when it's in arranged marriage, there is no bounds like that. There is no attachment like that. When you come there, you come with an understanding that you're getting married to a person and you have to spend your life with them. So
yeah.
you come very clearly. And after that marriage, there is a lot of exploration that needs to have. Anybody who have got married will understand that. We are doing gracefully. That's what I believe. And she's a wonderful lady. She supports. She's the first one to clap on anything that I do. She's the first one to share any post that gets posted for me. Yeah, I've been lucky, very lucky there.
Awesome. So, I could see that there was some kind of, the relationship takeaway for the youngsters from here as well. So,
Yeah.
you know,
That is
don't,
what,
yeah, don't
yeah,
fake it.
don't fake it, don't pretend it.
Yeah,
Because if you're not the person that if you're not a real person with a person that you're getting married or promising your life with, you're bound to ruin it once
yeah,
it happens.
true, true. And also, there's a very popular saying, right? Fake it till you make it, but probably it doesn't go with this.
It doesn't apply here. Fake it till you make it applies only in the places that you don't want to stay forever.
Yeah, true.
You'll keep on moving. Humans are like rivers, they'll keep on moving. But I always feel that marriage is like a pond where
Hmm.
movement doesn't happen and you can clearly see your reflection all the time in the water.
Yes,
So it have to be that way.
yes. Okay. So, if I have to ask you one more thing, Akshay, how was your family support on this before? Because in the beginning of the video, you just mentioned that your mom didn't know and she threw the poems what you had written. So, how was the family support and how did you, come up with this and things? Were you angry at your mom that she threw your poetry away and what
Obviously, it
happened?
had around 270 poems.
Wow.
So you remember, if you have grown up in India, you remember that there is this garbage collector or
Yes,
someone who
yes.
collects old papers and all. That guy had come in and she didn't knew she had picked up the whole thing and she had given it for money for 4 rupees or 5 rupees maybe. So at that point of time, I was very angry and I had left writing. I had stopped writing poems.
Hmm.
But if at all something is meant for you, it will keep on poking on your head.
Yeah.
I always say, if at all something is so much bothering you every single day that you're remembering it, do it
Mm-hmm.
anyway. You get it something out of it, or you don't get something out of it, at least you'll get a better sleep.
Exactly.
That's what I always say. So I started writing again from 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, what happened? I was in a very unstable job,
Mm-hmm.
and I was getting extremely minimal salary, which was not covering anything with respect to the family. We were in a
Mm-hmm.
very we were living very menially. We were in a single PHK, which didn't have proper lighting or whatever. So the lifestyle was very tight, and at that point of time, my parents used to ask me to quit writing, stop writing poetry, start
Mm-hmm.
concentrating on the job. But as I said, I was going through depression. The only way I could express myself was through poetry, through
Poetry.
words. So everybody have certain kind of habit or
Mm-hmm.
a certain thing through which they can vent out, through
Mm-hmm.
which they can explain or express. For some, I might be very critical while giving this example. For venting out or for relieving themselves, for some it might be cigarettes or alcohol or anything
Yeah.
it might be, which is from which they are destroying themselves. And again, for artistic people, it is an art,
Mm-hmm.
poetry,
True.
painting, anything it might be. In a way, they're also cutting themselves, but they are not physically cutting themselves, they're cutting them internally. What happens is when a poet or an artist starts bleeding out through
Mm-hmm.
words or paint, and when the audience start applauding for him,
Yeah.
which happened with Vincent van Gogh, maybe, or
Mm-hmm.
anybody. Any great art piece that is created in the world has been created when they were devastated, when they were going
Mm-hmm.
through certain turmoils. So what happens with an artist is when people start appreciating the way he is bleeding, he start cutting himself more without
Yeah.
understanding when to stop. So in a
Correct.
way, an artist is also ruining himself internally while they
Mm-hmm.
are ruining
Mm-hmm.
physically. So these two are extreme bounds. So at that point of time, when people were asking me to stop whatever I was doing, I was
Mm-hmm.
bound that I was very committed that I have to keep doing whatever I was doing. And once I got, you cannot, the moving is very hard until you find the purpose in something. But when the people from around the world started approaching me and telling me that they wanted to commit suicide, but they're not committing it after reading my poems or hearing my story,
Yeah.
that provided a purpose to me. Okay, I've built a bridge to reach certain place, and that bridge is helping people to reach their places also. That
Yeah.
is a purpose. But there is a dark side for this purpose also. What happens is, let us imagine that you're going through hell. And Winston Churchill have always said that if you're going through hell, keep walking. Why do you even stop?
Mm-hmm.
So there'll come a certain point that you see the light at the end of the tunnel. When
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
about to climb out, you suddenly see someone that is dwindling and walking around in that hell.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly you get remorse or you feel bad about that person. Bring them and you'll make them rise up first,
Yeah.
make them climb up out of that. Then you'll try to climb again. You see another person. You
Yeah.
walk back, you bring them. You walk back, you bring them. And there are a lot of people who settle in the hell to make other people climb up.
Yep.
That is, again, is a very toxic trait. You should
Mm-hmm.
not ruin yourself also. What you do is you put the signboards that here is what where you have to go. You go this way, you go this way, and here is the end of the right, and you exit. I believe that is what I did. And when
Nice.
my family was not very supportive with respect to whatever I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
the thing is nobody have to believe your vision.
True.
It is
True.
only you who have to understand it and believe it. You don't go around seeking the permission of the people or the or expectation of the people or what they think about your vision when those people have not lived your vision in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go and ask how to invest 1 crore from a person who have not even earned a lakh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
You're
correct.
you're bound to lose the 1 crore that you have made.
Yes.
The person who makes 1 crore is not the person who have made 1 crore. It is the person who have become in the journey of making from 1 rupee to 1 crore. It is the person, not this
Mm-hmm.
person. If at
Mm-hmm.
all a person is not able to have handle 100 rupees, if you give a crore to him, he'll lose the 100 rupees also and he'll come to the road.
Mm-hmm.
That is what happens. So
Right.
when nothing is working out, keep patting your back, keep moving. You don't have to explain anybody your vision to anyone. If there is a positive criticism, learn to accept it, but keep going. There
Yeah.
is there is a miracle happens. You believe in miracles not because they happen.
True.
Miracles happen because you believe in them. You have to
Exactly.
understand that there
Yeah.
is a power in believing something will happen even before it happens.
Right.
And you have to understand that. If you understand that and if you keep on doing it, at the end of the day, if at all you want to write a book and you go ahead and write a book, even if it sells or not, at the end of the day, when you're at your last stage of life,
Mm.
there will be not what if.
Yeah.
There will be
True.
no what ifs. So that is the freedom. Your life should be all about minimizing the regrets that you have towards your end of the life. That's what
Yeah.
I believe. That's what I work towards.
Yeah. And I would like to add, it doesn't mean that you have to go do everything that you think of.
No,
There are sometimes stupid thoughts, so please contain those stupid thoughts.
see, there is a very tiny gap where that's a very thin line between knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah.
Tomato is a fruit, that is a wisdom, but not putting it, that is a knowledge, but not putting it into a fruit salad is a wisdom.
Yeah.
You have to understand both of it. If you start seeking everything, if you start going behind everything that that appeases you or makes you, that's what happens with Rama, right? With golden
Yeah.
deer.
Yeah. True.
Even though he understands that it is not a real
Yeah.
deer is not will never be a golden one. He still chases that because Sita asked for him. There is certain thing that if certain things is what I always say, there is Narayana and there
Hmm.
is Maya, which is his internal energy. When you're seeking something which is very great, there is always a distractions comes with that to test how badly you want it. If you
Yeah.
go behind distraction, you'll miss this.
Yeah.
You have to
Uh,
be very careful that.
Yeah, on my take, if I want to say something about Rama running behind the golden deer, is I have somehow thought, or somehow believed that he probably knew that if he did not go behind it, then Sita would not be with Ravana, and he would not get a chance to kill Ravana. So it is
Things,
somewhere connected. It was somewhere destined to happen that way. It is not that.
destinies.
Yeah.
Destiny is such a thing. There is this beautiful story in which Rama have been abandoned, and Rama is supposed to go to this Vanavasa
Yeah.
tomorrow. So Lakshmana comes to Rama and says, This is unfair.
Yeah.
This is unjustified. You're supposed to sit on the throne and rule,
Hmm.
and you're standing in this place. Let me handle Dasharatha. Let me imprison him. If at all Bharata comes and goes against you, I will imprison him also. You just
Hmm.
sit there and rule the Ayodhya. So Rama says, I've never made a bias or treated Kausalya and Kaikeyi differently.
Hmm.
And Kaikeyi have never treated me and Bharata differently.
Hmm.
And I've done everything in the aspect of Dharma, according to the Dharma. After doing everything right, after treating everyone equally, if at all I'm standing at this point of time and this place, there is no tarka to it. There is no logic to it.
Yeah.
When things are happening without any logic, it is the destiny that you have brought to this place and you have placed it here. So if
Yeah.
at all you have to understand why the destiny have placed me here, I have to go forward and see what happens next. That is what the understanding Rama had towards everything that happened in his life.
Yeah.
Rama's life is not extravagant or something. He have gone through extreme turmoils, even Krishna
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
But destiny is a thing that they kept on following, that worked, that made them Rama and Krishna.
Yes, absolutely. And it's like especially Krishna. Krishna is like the Purna Avatara, and the
Yes.
way you have narrated Krishna, I think that is unbeatable. Can I ask you to do it for us, please?
Yeah. Which you want a story of Krishna or how is
Uh,
it?
Whatever, because listening to Krishna from you is really awesome.
Yeah. So Krishna is called Purna Paramatma because in the Valmiki Ramayana, Valmiki announces Rama as a god at one place because he was very excited. And but Krishna, as soon as he takes birth,
Yes.
he takes this Chaturbhuja avatar and tells himself as he is God
Yeah.
and asks his father to take Vasudeva to take him to the other side of the shore where the Yogamaya have taken birth, swap the babies, and get her back. So
Yeah.
that is what Krishna is the only avatar in the Vishnus who knows, who from the beginning who knew that he was Paramatma.
Yeah.
right? So that is how the journey goes. Then he goes. Krishna had a lot of turmoils in his life.
Hmm.
From the birth itself, his mother's brother was waiting to kill him. After that, he went to Yashoda. There also people, many Rakshasa tried to kill him. Then he couldn't meet the love of his life. He couldn't get the love of his life. He
Yeah.
had to leave her back and he had to move to Dwarka. Then he
Mm.
builds the Dwarka city with so much love. Then he goes to support Pandavas, even though the Dharma was on the side of Pandavas and Krishna supported it. Krishna got a very bad name because of it.
Yeah. True.
And he got the curse of Gandhari also. Because of the curse of Gandhari, the city that he built with so much love, it got submerged in the water.
Yeah.
And he because of the curse, he also passed away without having anybody around him. So if you see the story of Krishna, it is completely filled with pain. It is completely filled with turmoil.
Yeah.
We just see the and Krishna have done a lot of things in between. If you just see the Mahabharata, the things that he have done, or the whole story, it tells what kind of a lover he was, what kind
Yeah.
of a strategist he was, what kind of a warrior he was.
Yes.
And the most wonderful thing that he says was, if at all you doing something to save dharma, even the adharma is dharma. If at all
Yeah.
you're
True.
saying something is which is a lie for protecting dharma, it is not a lie, it is a truth. In many places, he strategically eliminates certain people. He uses everybody as a pawns to
Yeah.
eradicate the bad people from the face of earth. There is this uh, if you remember
Mm.
Barbaric is someone who was extremely capable with respect to the whole story of Mahabharata. Barbaric had this power that he had three arrows. One arrow would mark what to shoot, what to kill, and arrow would mark what not to kill or destroy. The
Yeah.
another arrow would go around and kill everything that was marked, destroy everything that was marked. So Krishna understood that on whosoever's side
Mm.
that Barbaric was, they are destined to win. But the problem is when Barbaric was approached, he said, whoever was the weakest side, he would support them. So
Okay.
Krishna understood that if he was supporting Pandavas because they are weak initially, because they only had seven Akshayani Sanyas,
Yes.
then Kauravas would become weak. Then suddenly he would swap to Kauravas, then Pandavas would become weak. He
Yeah.
would keep on doing this, and that this war would never end.
True.
So he comes in a disguise of Brahmana and he asks a boon from Barbaric. Barbaric says yes, and he asks the head of Barbaric.
Yeah.
So Barbaric gives his head, he placed in at the top of the mountain.
Mm.
Then at the end of the war, when the war is over, there is Bhima's clan, there is Arjuna's clan. They start fighting between each other that Bhima was great and Arjuna was great.
True.
So they both decides that let us ask Barbaric, who watched the whole thing sitting on the mountain. They go to Barbaric and ask, who is great, Arjuna or Bhima? So
Mm.
Barbaric says, I don't know about Arjuna, I don't know about Krishna, but the only person who is great here is Krishna. I don't know about Arjuna, I don't know about Bhima. The only person
Yeah.
great here is Krishna because they killed everyone after Krishna killed them.
Yes.
So whenever I was watching, the Krishna Sudarshana Chakra used to go and kill someone, then used to fire arrow on them.
Right.
So the only person that is great here is Krishna. Even in certain place in Bhagavad Gita, he says, "I am the one who." In Mahabharata, he says, "I'm the one who kills and I'm the one who got killed." There is
Right.
this concept of a Mahavishnu, Garbhodakasai Vishnu,
Yeah.
Kshirodakasai Vishnu, which
Yes.
enters each universe, which enters each entity in the universe and cares about it, or something like that.
Mm.
So Vishnu is present in every entity. So if at all in the Mahabharata someone got killed or someone killed, it is me only. That is what he says. Like
Yes.
if at all something like this, if you take from the birth to death, there are a lot of leelas that you have done. There are a lot of things, stories like this that you keep on telling, and I can keep on telling for a days to together.
Yes, and I must say it's like it's so nice to hear these stories from you. I don't mind if you were just like I said in the initial, the beginning of the episode itself, we'll probably take like 10 to 15 episodes to cover this. Probably that is not even enough to, the extract the stories from you. So,
There are a lot of stories about him. Like I always say, when you start loving Krishna, it is not you loving Krishna. It
Yes.
is Krishna loves you and he chose you. That is why you have started loving Krishna. So it is always true, like true that way. If at all Bhagavad Gita comes to your life, Krishna comes to your life, he's meant to be there. Even in when it comes to Jatakas also, there are nine houses, there are nine planets. If something is not working out, they say pray to Krishna because the tenth, the middle one is Krishna and he takes care of everything.
Yeah. Okay. I would not want to talk about that here because let's keep that for the other part.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So if I have to ask you about one experience of your life where this awakening happened to you, and when this adhyatma took over you, when you wanted to get into the spirituality, when was it, and what was that thing that moved you?
It didn't happen at once. I don't believe that it happens to everyone at once.
Yeah.
We have this notion that you sit at some place or you do something, suddenly something happens and you have a light around your head. That doesn't happen. It is a series of things that happens one after the other. And I strongly believe a tree takes birth only when there is a seed.
Yeah.
And
True.
that seed is placed inside you from your birth itself. And I don't say that it is not possible to um, sow that seed afterwards at all, but I strongly believe that it have to be there somewhere. It is just that there are a lot of things around it that you don't see it yet. So there are a lot of things that have happened in life. For example, people usually don't believe it when I say there was this instance where in my first PUC I had copied in my exams and I had got caught twice for doing the same thing. And they had clearly said that they'll fail me. So I was contemplating suicide because I had never failed before. I know it's a very trivial reason, but at that point of time, it was very huge for me.
Yeah.
And there was this particular temple which I used to do namaskar every day whenever I was going up and down from my home. It was near my home in Bangalore. So I was after contemplating this for 2, 3 days, I was going in front of it, and there was this old lady who called
Mhm.
me. I
Yeah.
went there and she asked me to sit next to her, and she asked, "Why are you contemplating about suicide?" I said, "I was wow," and I haven't told anything to her. She said, "There are a lot of things. Everything will be all right towards the end, and you'll do a lot of things in this life." And don't contemplate about suicide. There are a lot of things that has to be done. Things will
Mhm.
be fine. If at all something is not fine, just say Om Namo Narayanaya one or
Yeah.
8 times and things will be fine. And I got up and she caressed my head and I got up and I was about to move and I felt I should ask her name. I turned around and she was not there.
Wow.
And I don't remember her face. Eventually, in life, they say if at all meet someone who is a divine entity, you don't remember their face. So if
True.
you go to Tirupati and come out, you'll remember the face of um, Balaji.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that every time you go to Tirupati, it is like you're seeing for him for the first time. When there is that entity, there is that power, it is ought to happen. It was one instance. There are a lot of instances as such, which
Mhm.
have strongly said me that there is a presence. There is a thing that is standing with you. There is a thing that stays with you. And I always love to pray and there is this saying, right? When there is when there is no shoulder to lean on, there is always a floor to kneel down and pray.
Yes. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
I strongly believe that I have gone through severe turmoils in my career beginning 2015, 2018,
Mhm.
2019. I strongly believe Krishna and I strongly believe Rayer, if you know
Yeah.
Raghavendra
Yes.
Swami.
Yes.
I very strongly believe in him. So whatever I do when I'm going through certain things, I just say, whatever is possible from me, I'll give my 100% there. I'll do whatever I'm supposed to do. You let me do whatever I'm supposed to do, and you take me whichever place you want to take. I'll leave everything to you. I usually don't stand or sit in front of God and ask for something. I just say thank you for everything that He
Mhm.
has already given me. Because when you have a mindset to ask, it is always true that the universe repeats whatever you say to it.
Yeah.
And that also it
Absolutely.
repeats many times.
Yes.
If you say once, it will repeat thrice, 4 times, five
Yes.
times like that.
Yes.
So if you say I want, it says I want, I want. So you're not going to get anything out of it. But if
Yeah.
you say I'll give, the universe will say I'll give, I'll give, I'll give. And the abundance is created from the mindset of abundance.
Yeah.
For
True. True.
example, the rivers, the water will always flow towards the ocean where there
Mm.
is already a large amount of water. It will not flow towards the desert where there is no water.
Yeah.
The basic understand of life is this. If at all a rich person comes to your family as a guest, you'll
Mm.
always think about what is the best gift that you can give. The richer he is, the richer gift you'll think
Yes.
about giving. That
Yes.
on the other hand, if a very poor person comes in front of you, you'll try to search for the change in your purse. And
Absolutely.
abundance will create more abundance. If at all you have a mindset of scarcity, if at all you're going and sitting in front of and only make it a point of asking, you'll
Mm.
not never get what you want. You're not never get what you're supposed to want. There's this wonderful story where a child goes to a retail shop, and after his mother purchases everything, that child stands in front of the cash counter and starts stares at the chocolate bottle,
Mm-hmm.
and the owner of the shop looks at it and signs him to take the chocolate. He doesn't take it. He signs it. He signs him 2 to 3 times. He asks him. He doesn't do. So the shopkeeper feels that he's not taking the chocolates because he's very shy, or he's scared, or he fears his mom might say anything. So he takes the chocolate himself and he puts into the hand of child.
Okay.
So the mother comes out and asks the child, the shopkeeper asked you to take the chocolate, but why didn't you take it?
Yeah.
Then the child says, if at all I would have taken it, I would have got what? See my hands, how small they are. I would have got 3 to 4 chocolates because I waited for the shopkeeper to give. So see how many chocolates there are. I am not even
Right.
able to hold it. So I strongly believe let him give. You don't ask for whatever you want. If he loves you very much, he'll give you whatever you asked for, but probably more than that existed in your destiny and you missed out on that. I believe that way. I think that way.
Exactly. And probably the law of attraction, which has been, like most talked about these days, that
Yes.
probably works on the same principle that, you just surrender
People,
and
yeah, people don't understand it. You just don't sit and write good things. You just don't sit and write what you want, and
yeah,
miracles doesn't happen. If at all you want something, you have to pay for it. Always.
true,
There is in the universe, nothing is you give something, you give nothing, and I'll give something for it. It doesn't work that way.
true.
If at all, the point of saying thanks is again in alignment with nature. You do something for me, I say thanks to you. You feel that I appreciated whatever you did, and you'll feel like doing more for me. If at all I don't do that simple act of kindness, you'll feel that I'm very entitled, that I'm not even saying thanks to you, and you'll not feel like doing anything for me in future. The same thing happens with the creation also. But I've always seen the clock starts ticking, the clock starts moving only when you start keying something in, put the
Yes,
battery in. So if at
true.
all you want to become an actor, start buying a course. If at
Mm,
all you want to become a writer, start reading about the writing and start writing. And all of a sudden, things starts unraveling itself. If at all you don't make your first move, if at all you don't take your first step, things never start. No
right.
matter what you wish for, no matter what you do for, you have to take that first step. Then he'll take 10 steps, 100 steps and comes towards you. So you might think that I'm alone in this journey, but it is not true. There is this
Yes.
wonderful story where someone prays to God for a lot of time, and
Hmm.
God appears in front of him, and he asks the God, now from now on, whatever I do, no, no, a baby was taking birth in on earth, and the baby doesn't didn't wanted to take birth on earth. The God asks, you have to go. So the baby asks, okay, I will go there, but you have to be with me always.
Hmm.
So fine. So he takes birth, he starts growing up. Every time when he was moving in his life, he used to say 4 steps, 4 marks of 4 footsteps he used to see. But after a certain point of time, when he graduated, when he was searching for the job, lot of times after that he saw only 2 steps, two marks of 2 feet. So after he passed away, he went to God and he said, "You didn't follow up on whatever you have
Yeah.
promised." God asked why. After a certain point of time in life, I saw only 2 footsteps. They said, "Whenever you were not able to move in your life, I carried you in my arms. Those footsteps were mine, not yours." So that is what you have to basically understand. It is,
Beautiful.
he's always there with you. You don't see that. When you sit in front of God, already deciding what you want to hear, no matter what he says, you'll not be able to hear it because you've already
Mhm.
decided what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Sit with an open arm, sit with an open ear. You'll be able to hear it.
True. And I think this is exactly what happens with any motivational speaker or any psychiatrist also, because a person who goes to them, they're already mentally prepared that, okay, this is exactly what I
Yes.
want to get out of you. So I'm here for that. So it's just not working because you have pre-decided what you want from there.
Yes, when things are when you decide something in you and you proceed with it, you're not malleable, you'll not be made into a shape that suits you. Then what
Yeah.
happens? If at all you want to fit to the puzzle, they have to break the parts of you that were not supposed to break.
Yeah,
Even then, will not be the part of the puzzle.
exactly.
There is a thin line. If at all you always try to fit in, it is like a game of Tetris. You'll disappear.
Yeah,
You have to stay unique, but you have to be malleable at the same time also.
true. True. So leave that small void so that there is something good that is coming on its own there.
You always pay for the void, you know.
Yeah.
If at all you're going for a 2 BHK, you pay certain rent, but for 3 BHK, you're paying more rent. What are you
Yeah.
paying for? More space, right?
More space.
So
Yeah.
space is healthy, but you have to understand in what way. There are two aspects to it. Whenever you pray for something, there are two voices that are listening to it, two entities that are listening to it. When you're getting everything that you ask for, and very soon, extremely soon that you're getting, you have to be very careful about that. You have to be very careful about that also. You have to remember that. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what, actually, I was just thinking this whole conversation, what we had, it felt more like a therapy to me.
I'm glad to hear that.
Seriously, I mean, there are like many points. I'm like, okay, yeah, right. So I could do this, that kind of thought kind of hit me. So to end, I don't want to end, but to end, if I have to ask you, I really want to hear a story in your style, in your narration, in your voice, in your uh, you know words. So can we please have it?
There is this story of Mahabharata that I keep on telling everywhere that sits with me always, as I mentioned earlier, with respect to Maya and Vishnu. So the war is about to happen, right? So Arjuna and Duryodhana understand the fact that whoever approaches the kings first, the king have to support that person.
Right.
So they start going around asking, meeting the kings. So who goes first? Get the alliance of the king. So then they realize that Krishna is the main entity. They have to go there. So the Duryodhana goes there first, but Krishna was sleeping. Duryodhana have this ego in him, so he doesn't sit in near the legs of Krishna. He sits in near the head of Krishna.
Right.
But Arjuna comes in. Arjuna comes in, sits in near the legs of Krishna, and Krishna, as soon as he awakes,
Mhm.
sees Arjuna first. So asks, what does Arjuna want? Duryodhana was very much angry because of this fact, because he came first. But still, Arjuna chose, when Arjuna was asked, what do you want? Do you want Narayani Sainya, which has so many soldiers, which is extremely powerful?
Mhm.
Or do you want me, who will not pick up any weapon, who will not be
Yeah.
involved in war in any way? So Duryodhana understand that Krishna is not involved in war anyway, and he is not picking up any weapon. What is the point of having him? And he
Yeah.
starts praying that Arjuna picks up Krishna, and
Okay.
Arjuna picks up Krishna, and
Right.
Duryodhana was extremely happy,
Yeah.
and because he got the Narayani Sanya, and he lives happily.
Yes.
But there is this beautiful saying. Krishna asked Arjuna, I said, I'll
Mm.
not pick up the weapon. I said, I'll not be involved in the war. Why did you uh, choose
Yeah.
me?
True. Yeah.
You lost the butter. You lost the butter. And Arjuna says, what will I do with the butter when the thief who takes away all the butter in the world is with me?
Okay. Right.
So that is the understanding. So that Narayani Sena is a Maya. So
Mm.
Duryodhana went with the Maya and missed the whole thing.
Yeah.
That is the
Absolutely.
God. So this always stays with me. This I always remember that Rama story about the logic, and he wants to
Mm.
went to Vanavasa, And this story where about Maya always in my life, so that any decision that I make, when I'm making a decision, I remember these two stories and contemplate whatever I do based on these two. And if at all my conviction says yes, and the thing that I'm taking is an alliance with these two stories, I go forward. Otherwise, I usually don't. That is where you
Wonderful.
don't follow. You mentioned, right? You don't go on following everything that you
Yeah, yeah, true.
see. So, like kids, what cats do, wherever the light goes, they go on.
They
There
just
is no
follow.
destiny for it. You have to understand where you are supposed to go. In the Alice in the Wonderland book, she goes to the cat and asks, where
Hmm.
does this path take me? The cat asks, where do you want to go? She says, I don't know. Then this path will take wherever you want to go. If you
Absolutely.
don't know where you want to go, any path will take you there.
Yeah.
So that is the understanding that you need to have towards life.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I mean, I can't, get out of this mode. I don't want to stop. I want to keep living. I'm greedy today. But there's a saying that all good things have to end somewhere. So we will have to end this so that we get more of this in another episode someday for sure.
Sure,
I,
sure,
I,
Smita.
I really hope that we catch up again this way and we come on board with Samanya again. So thanks a lot, Akshay. You were wonderful. In the true sense, Asamanya, Asamanya is like ordinary people with inordinate journey. And there we are with Akshay Vasu, who is Asamanya today. Yeah.
Thank you so much for hosting, Ms. Pita. I've spoken with you before also. You're such a wonderful host, and your questions have so much depth into them. And as I said, the bridges that we build for ourselves will guide others to home. So this is one of the thing that you're doing right now, and I wish very well for your YouTube channel and your new venture that you're doing. You have taken the first step, and God will come to 10 or 100 steps that He needs to come.
Thanks a lot, Akshay. Thanks a lot. It's like I can say this will probably stay again the best episode and most viewed. I'm really
I
glad.
wish there comes a lot of more episodes which break the records that this episode sets, if at all they set something.
Yeah, sure.
Let
Thanks a
your
lot.
channel keep growing. Yeah,
Yes.
the pleasure
One
is mine.
last question. One last question I want to ask. I picked it up from another YouTube channel. I'm very open. It's from Varun Wadhwa. I picked it up. He always asks, all his guests that how he was as a host. So I picked it up from him. I want to know any constructive feedback. How was I as a host? I'm open to feedback. If you think I have to change somewhere, I'm really happy about it.
I have I have had a conversation with you before also, and you've done this a lot of times. So you've honed your skills. You're that person. I strongly understand that. I guess it was Abraham Lincoln who said, "If at all you give me 6 hours to chop a tree, I'll spend 4 hours sharpening the axe." So I know that you have spent your 4 hours sharpening your axe, and you're cutting down the trees now. I know you'll do it well. I don't think that you have to change anything. I strongly believing in the conversation flowing like a water,
True.
and it flowed like a water.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Akshay. Thanks for being our guest today. Thank you.
The pleasure is mine. Thanks for having me, Smita.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So that was Akshay Vasu for you. And here ends the first episode of Asamanya. But hey, we're going to bring more such inspirational people with their remarkable journey and untold stories of life definitely for you week on week ahead. And stay tuned with us and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.